When somebody is doing something sort of lackadaisically, we say that his heart is not really in it. That's what it's about. It's about doing things with enthusiasm, doing things that you put your heart really into. Jesus had a problem with the Pharisees and the Sadducees because they followed the law. They were good at following the law. They recognized they needed to follow the law, but their heart really wasn't in it. And that's really what Jesus is talking about today when he talks about that he came not to abolish the law, but to fulfill it, to develop a loving relationship with Jesus Christ and to follow the law because we have this love in our heart. St. Ignatius was a good Catholic. He tried to follow a moral code to a certain point, but he was a soldier. He was a womanizer. And when he went through his conversion, he realized that his heart really wasn't in it. That while he was going through the motions of being a good Catholic, he didn't have that relationship with Jesus Christ. And he started to realize that it was through his heart that was the language that God spoke to him. Here's what Father Fleming has to say about the heart. The heart does not mean the emotions, though it includes our emotions. It refers to our inner orientation, the core of our being. This kind of heart is what Jesus was referring to when he told us to store up treasures in heaven instead of on earth. For where your treasure is, there also will your heart be. This is the heart Jesus was worried about when he said, "From the heart comes evil thoughts, murder, adultery, unchastity, theft, false witness, blasphemy." Jesus observed that our heart can get untethered from our actions. This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. That's in Matthew chapter 15, verse 8. Heart in this sense, the totality of our response, is what St. Ignatius was concerned about in the spiritual exercises. St. Ignatius, through his conversion, realized that God was speaking to him through his heart. And he started to understand this language of the heart. Father Fleming again says, over the years of prayerful reflection and spiritual direction of others, Ignatius developed many ways to listen to the language of the heart. This is the language that reveals God's intention and inspires us to a generous response. What we believe and what we do are important, but Ignatius is far more interested in the condition of our hearts. Still, most of us face a persistent temptation to make the spiritual exercise or any kind of spiritual renewal a matter of changing the way we think. Indeed, this danger arises even in a book like this, which sets forth ideas and concepts and principles to broaden our understanding of Ignatian spirituality. It is vital to realize that understanding is not the goal. We can understand a great number of things, but this may not affect the way we live our lives. The goal is a response of the heart, which truly changes the whole person. St. Ignatius, through his spiritual exercises, provides us with different exercises so that we can get in tune with what our heart is saying. We've talked about a couple of those already, right? We passed out flyers that talk about how to pray the examen. I've encouraged you in the past and encourage you now to make the examen a regular part of your prayer life. St. Ignatius used to encourage the Jesuits to stop 2 or 3 times a day to pray the examen. But we can make it a good habit just to stop daily, just once a day, and pray the examen to get in touch with how Christ is present to us all the time, and to look back through the day and see those times when Christ really was present to us in the good things and the things we can celebrate, but also see those times where maybe we rejected Christ and we turned away from Him and we sinned. But most importantly, to look forward to the next day and to ask Christ to be there, to be present with you, to be there with you in your heart. Another good thing that St. Ignatius taught was the discernment of the spirits and how to use the language of the heart to discern what it is that God is trying to tell you, to be able to go to God and through prayer and discernment, make choices, make decisions. A few weeks ago, we passed out this flyer, Discerning Life Decisions, and they're still available in the back. You can still pick them up after Mass, but it talks about here how we can start to use the feelings of our heart, start to look at what's deep in our heart to discern what God is calling us to do, those basic practical steps of just recognizing which way God is pushing us and making decisions. When we go to Him with an option A or an option B, which way should we go? So next Saturday, February 22nd, we'll have our little Lenten mini retreat here. Starts after the 8:30 Mass, and we'll go till 2:30. And we're calling this retreat SOS, Spirituality, Organization, and Support, right? So the spirituality part is to start listening to that language of the heart, to start listening to what God is placing on your heart, to recognize the gifts He's given us. And then the organization, the O, is to talk about now how we can organize our life. God has given us these great gifts of time and talent and treasure. And the question is how can we be good stewards of our time, talent, and treasure? How can we steward the gifts that God has given us and organize our life to use our time, talent, and treasures for His purpose? And then the support, right? To talk about the examine prayer, the best support we have for recognizing where God is turning us, where God wants us to go. But how we can also seek support from one another, from our community. It's with the help of others that we can discern what God is telling us, what God is placing on our heart.